Y'all, Beyonce released her new song, a country song called Texas Hold'em, and it is just literally breaking the internet. Everybody's heard it, and they either love it or they hate it. But one thing about it is that there's a lot of racism happening and people trying to discredit it. So what are people saying about Beyonce's new country bop? What did Bo Duke say that was so offensive? Get ready, because the tea I've got today is extra spicy. Okay, so I'm gonna say this in the interest of honesty. Texas Hold'em isn't my favorite Beyonce song. I'm not really a fan, but I see the genius behind it. It samples the theme song from one of my favorite 90s cartoons, or at least the internet thinks it does.
Hey, it's Franklin, coming over to play.
Remember Franklin the Turtle? How brilliant is it to turn that into a country song? Honestly, Queen Bey's creativity knows no bounds. But there are a lot of people who aren't as objective as I am, and even more than that, they're out here being straight up racists. Which is something that Queen Bey and the Bayhive is no stranger to. Here's what Matt Walsh had to say about Beyonce's new song.
We have some controversy, some racism allegedly, and this is the worst kind of racism imaginable. It's the racism, really racism in its most bigoted, most vicious form, because it is the racism of criticizing Beyonce, the singer, and as opposed to any other Beyonce I might be talking about. And we all know that if you criticize Beyonce, then you're racist, automatic.
He went on to criticize her singing and said her songs are terrible.
I've learned that. I've been told that. I've criticized her plenty of times because she's not a very good singer and all of her songs are terrible. But anytime I say that, I'm told, well, you're racist for that. You have to like Beyonce. Just one of those requirements to be not racist.
Okay, you can criticize Beyonce. You're wrong, but that's a thing you can do. Not liking a piece of art objectively isn't racism. Candace Owens weighed in on his commentary. I'm not gonna play you the clip since I've already given you the clip with the awesome Franklin the Turtle remix, and I think that's been enough of a contribution for one day, honestly. Here's Candace's review.
I don't know if you get it based off of 7 seconds, but I hope you did, because I'm going to explain it to you. So some people are saying that, this is not very country. She shouldn't just be jumping into country music. And I'm going to defend Beyonce on that point, because Beyonce's kind of actually always been country. She's more country than Taylor Swift ever was, for sure. I mean, Beyonce's from Houston, Texas. She's always had a twang. If you followed her music, Destiny's Child, Beyonce actually did wear a cowboy hat in one of those songs. So I just think that if we're trying to criticize whether or not she's actually country, she's from Houston, Texas. So her dropping a song called Texas Hold'em is perfectly fine. Now, when I was listening to the music, it just had more curse words than I needed. I am not saying that you cannot find curse words in country music, but it isn't the standard. It definitely is not the standard. I will say that country music does tend to be more innocent. It does still tend to be about love. Now, people that are saying that based on her...
That's fairly true. Back in the day, there were songs like Honky Tonk Badonkadonk and Kiss This because basically the artists were skirting around saying but Beyonce comes straight out of the gate and says like it's nothing.
Politics, she can't make country music. You haven't been paying attention. Of course, there are tons of country artists that are super woke. Yes, there are still some that have conservative values, and I am proud that country music sort of chased Maren Morris away, because she then started saying that to be country is wrong, and that's ridiculous. Beyonce hasn't made those sorts of statements. Taylor Swift has, when she, decided she was done with country music, and she put on a fake twang. Everybody was okay with it. So you can't say that Taylor Swift can do it and Beyonce can't.
That's fair too. If Taylor Swift can fake it, then it's okay for Beyonce. I'm not sure I agree with her whole forwards-backwards philosophy there, but I love Morgan Wallen too, and there's something to be said about older country music vibes.
Is that she's going to leave country music fans, of which I am one. I do listen to some country music. She's going to leave country music fans with another example of Black women being raunchy.
Kind of weird for a Black woman with a platform to be saying that another Black woman should stay in her lane, but okay. But she's not the only one. Now, in case you don't know, raunchy typically refers to something that is explicit, vulgar, or crude in nature. The speaker here is saying she's concerned about Beyonce's lyrics and her appearance, and that it may be seen as inappropriate or not in alignment with the traditional country music themes, which are usually wholesome and family-oriented. And believe it or not, there are radio stations that won't play her new song. Check out what happened when this fan requested the song from a country music station. I requested Texas Hold'em at my local country radio station, KYKC, and after requesting, I received an email from the radio station stating, "We do not play Beyonce on KYKC as we are a country music station." And as his receipts show, that is totally what they said. Now, maybe they're a little behind the times and didn't know, but I really doubt that. News about Beyonce's country song is all over the internet, and all they had to do was Google it. The fan then took to Twitter to get justice for Bey. This station needs to be held accountable for their blatant racism and discrimination against Beyonce. 1001 KYKC, this is absolutely ridiculous and racist. You guys should be ashamed. I grew up listening to your station. And please email the radio station to request the song. Incredibly though, that's not the only racism Queen Bey is facing right now. The name John Schneider may not mean a lot to many younger people, but he's the actor that played Bo Duke on The Dukes of Hazzard, and he had something to say about Beyonce's country music debut.
Now Beyonce dropped a new single, Texas Hold'em, Sunday, and an ACW radio station wasn't playing it because they said it wasn't really a CW song. Now, after they got bombarded by Beyonce fans, they relented. But I want your thoughts on this because it feels like the lefties in the entertainment industry just won't leave any area alone, right? They just have to seize control over every aspect, don't they?
They've got to make their mark, just like a dog in a dog walk park. You know, every dog has to mark every tree, right? So that's what's going on here.
Not a painfully white man comparing a black woman to a dog. The caucasity of that man. Let's not forget that this man is famous for being on a show where he drove the General Lee with a huge Confederate flag on top of it and a horn that plays Dixie. Honestly, if he wants to be out here comparing black women to dogs, somebody should get him on a leash.
Let's just read this together, shall we? John Schneider and the host of OAN are upset about Beyonce releasing a country song, saying that leftists are trying to take over everything, and Beyonce doing a country music song is like a dog peeing on their tree. Whose tree? Is country music like only for right-wing white people? Why? Why are you gatekeeping some of the best musicians out of a genre that desperately needs some new life in it after Toby Keith ruined it? Remember this guy? Is he the only non-white person who's allowed to have a country song? I realize that white people think that they're the best at everything, but goddamn, let some people into your club. It's not gonna hurt you.
Now we can get back to what Matt Walsh said about Schneider's remarks.
Racist and hateful, and commented the singer does not need his permission to create country music. Social media users said Beyonce can do whatever the F she wants to do. She doesn't need your permission. Did John Schneider just compare Beyonce to a dog? So Beyonce singing country music makes her a dog? What the F? And then, okay, that's all. They're all basically all the same.
And yeah, that's happening. The Bayhive is stirred up for sure. Here's Matt's thoughts on it.
The supposedly racist remark, which of course is not racist at all. Don't be ridiculous. You're allowed to not like Beyonce. Now, I think the criticism is kind of stupid on the face. Complaining about the lefties invading our space just because Beyonce made a country song is sort of dumb. Mainly because there are already a ton of leftists making country music. Country music is not some kind of conservative bastion. It's not. Now, there are conservative country stars, but will we even call them the majority at this point? And so a lot of country music is made by liberals, and a lot of it is already quite terrible.
Let's walk that back. Comparing Beyonce to a dog isn't racist? Well, at the very absolute least, it's tone deaf. And it was an unwarranted attack on her too. Here, Bo Duke was out here firing shots at Beyonce when she was just minding her own business and never said a word about him to start. Nah, not okay. And it's not like her foray into the country world is completely unprecedented either. Beyonce is from Texas. What else does she need to qualify her as a member of the Yeehaw Y'all Club? When she was with Destiny's Child, she made cowboy hats look good. And there's a long history of black people in country music. Country music started in the 1920s, taking heavy inspiration from the minstrel shows of the 1850s. See, minstrel shows involved white people who dressed up in blackface and made fun of slaves, who frequently used song and dance to express themselves. That's actually when banjos were first widely introduced to white people. It's a relative of an instrument from West Africa called an akonting, which is made from gourds. Then in the 1920s, hillbilly music, which was called country music after World War II, was really heavy on the banjo. Once it hit, hillbilly music was the sound of the South. And in the 20s and 30s, even though large sections of the South were segregated, white and black artists would collaborate with each other, resulting in some of the most popular songs of the day. Missouri University of Science and Technology history professor Patrick Huber said, nearly 50 African-American singers and musicians appeared on commercial hillbilly records between those years, because the music was not a white agrarian tradition, but a fluid phenomenon passed back and forth between the races. That actually sounds really cool, and I hope that more black artists get into the country scene. Apparently T-Pain has already been doing it for a while.
Music, I don't give a fuck where it come from or what style it come in. All the people I know feel like it's not cool to listen to other genres of music. Country music is where I get all my harmonies. Country and gospel music, that's where all my harmonies come from. I wrote a lot of country songs. I stopped taking credit for it because as cool it is to see your name in those credits and shit like that, the racism that comes after it is just like, I'll just take the check. Don't put me on that. I'll just take the check, bro.
How weird is it that he can put his name on an Ozzy Osbourne cover, but not his own country music? Anyway, maybe he'll be able to put his name on it and get credit now that Beyonce has thrown her hat and her clout in the ring. Other artists are considering making the move too. Check out Cardi B talking about country music.
It's not even hip hop anymore like it was a couple of years ago. Right now it's country music. I'm like, yo, I asked somebody, how the fuck is country music is getting so big? Like it's taking over Apple Music. And Apple Music is like the biggest streaming platform for hip hop.
Yes, do it. I want a country version of WAP. Now, if you don't know, Beyonce isn't the only black woman in country. When Beyonce first made the announcement that she was going to do a country song, people started running to K. Michelle and saying she must be scared. But she came back and had this to say. Why would anyone need to check on me? I'm one of the greatest African-American country singers of all time with no album even out. Y'all been mentioning me all night. I'm just happy to be spoken about in my genre. I love Bey and will be supporting her like I always do. Women supporting women. We love to see it. Now, Beyonce's country ditty has made record-breaking news just last week too and reached #1 on Billboard's Global 200 list with more than 60 million streams and over 43,000 sales from February 16 to the 22nd. Now, in case it isn't clear, the global list contains statistics from countries besides just the United States, which means Beyonce is a worldwide hit. Billboard says that Texas Hold'em is only the second Global 200 #1 song to reach the top of the Hot Country Songs chart in the US, and the other one, All Too Well, Taylor's version, which topped the charts in 2021. This is the 9th #1 song for Beyonce and the first one since 2022 when Break My Soul went #1 on the Global 200 list. This also makes Beyonce the first black woman to top the Hot Country Songs list. When someone on Instagram asked how Beyonce felt about the achievement, her mom responded saying, "We're all so happy. These types of achievements don't mean a lot to her, but she definitely recognizes what it means to us as a whole." Now, the big question on some people's minds is, what does Dolly Parton think? Honestly, that's what I ask myself every morning as I stumble into the kitchen and pour myself a cup of ambition. Anyway, here's what she had to say. I'm a big fan of Beyonce and very excited that she's done a country album. So congratulations on your Billboard Hot Country #1 single. Can't wait to hear the full album. And Lainey Wilson said, I love it. The more the merrier. I'm like, again, it's about that storytelling. It's just about making people feel at home, and everybody wants to feel at home. Hey, you know what? Everybody's gonna have something to say about everything. I bet you wouldn't say it to her face. I love Beyonce. But now I want to know what you think. Do you like Beyonce's new country song? How stoked are you for her country album to come out on March 29th? And what do you think about what John Schneider said? Sound off in the comments, and I'll catch y'all in the next video. See ya.